everybody, and welcome to Metaphysical Insights. I'm your host, William Becker, and today I'm really thrilled to have as my guest, as I call her, the Queen of the Queen Mary, and a good friend of mine, Nicole Strickland. And Nicole, thank you so much for being here. And how are you doing?
Well, thank you so much for having me again. It's always nice chatting with you. We always have so much fun. I'm good. I'm doing good. It's raining today in San Diego. Finally, folks, we're getting a storm. It's amazing. I just love it. So I'm doing good. What about
Excellent.
you?
I am too. Just still on a high from the Port Gamble Ghost Conference last weekend.
That's
And
right. Oh my
it was
gosh.
he does such a good job, he and his staff and all the people there, and I love it.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I went in 2017. I really do need to get back up there and both go to both the Oregon Ghost Conference and Port Gamble. It's been so long, but yes, Pete and the staff, they do an amazing job. I love that little quaint town.
Yes,
It's just when I saw it the first time, I was in awe of just how
yes,
gorgeous it is.
yeah. Of course, it's modeled after a town in Maine.
That's right. Oh gosh, New England,
Yeah, and
So,
that's a part of the country other than where I live that I would be happy to live in. Um,
yeah, me too.
um, yeah. Well, have you been working on? Well, let me rephrase that. What are the latest projects you've done?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Actually been doing a lot of presentations. So I have about, I think around 17 different presentations all around the area of paranormal research, life after death, parapsychology. So there's around 17 of those. And so I've been doing a lot of presentations. I've done about six between September and October. And then I just did one last week. I've done about actually seven. So, and I do a lot of presenting through San Diego Oasis Lifelong Learning. So if you, it's oh gosh, what's the website? You just type in San Diego Oasis, and then they have all kinds of different instructors and presenters on all kinds of different topics. From art to history to cooking to and me with the paranormal. So I've been presenting through them for about 7 years. They're fabulous, and then some libraries, and then I have an upcoming presentation at Laguna Woods Retirement Community. They have what's known as a Life After Life Club. So I'll be doing that. It's my third time there on January 3rd. Just paranormal research and investigation. So, and
Okay.
then some more in the spring with libraries and such. So I've been doing a lot of that. And then let's see, I'm delayed a little bit. I'm bringing back my show, The Afterlife Chronicles, and it
Good.
went on hiatus for a few years, but I am bringing that back. I am delayed in that, but I'm getting there, and then also debuting my new show, The Life Inspiration Project, which is not only paranormal themed. I mean, we can have, bring in the afterlife and paranormal into that as well, but just people from all walks of life, if they have something inspiring or something that they've grown from, anything involving inspiration, that's what that show is going to be about. So I'm almost there. I just need to kind of review the new software I'll be using, and then I'll be off with that. And then I swore I would never do another book about the Queen Mary, folks, but I am doing a fourth book about the ship. I want to kind of keep it hush hush for now, but it's something that I'm working very heavily on. So that's pretty much where my head's been in lately.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. What
Now,
about you? You've been
well,
busy too.
I had a reading with a client today before the
Oh,
show,
cool. Cool.
and yeah, the Port Gamble Ghost Conference was incredible.
Yeah,
Um, and
absolutely.
I'm working on some projects. None of them are quite out yet. I'm
Yeah.
revamping a couple of the books I do have out
Oh,
and
okay,
putting them in
great.
Barnes and Noble
Oh,
instead
nice.
of, yeah. And the publisher I had for the one book hasn't helped with anything.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think a lot of publishers are kind of slacking off. I can't speak for all of them, but I've heard that from fellow
well, and
authors.
It's
Just
a very small house in
yeah,
Scotland, and I think it's basically her and her husband or something. And
right.
um, they don't have a way for bookstores to buy. The
Mm,
royalties are almost nothing. They don't do any PR.
yeah.
And, I order author copies and sell them at events. And
Yeah, that's right, what a lot of people do. I almost find that self-publishing is almost the way to go. I mean, it depends on what your needs are and everything, but I started my own imprint, which is named after my 2 cats, Max and Kaylee, Kaylee Max Books. So I've published 4 under that imprint now, and you
is that
know
like setting up a publishing company yourself that way then?
yeah, I publish it like a publisher would. So, I mean, I'm not taking on any other authors at this point. Maybe sometime in the future I will, but just having that imprint, I publish like a publisher would. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a big learning curve with self-publishing. I'm still learning it. There's so much to know with
Yeah.
it. So,
Right. And which sites? I mean, Amazon
yeah.
pays nothing if they even sell anything. And that's part of the switch. I'm going to do Barnes and Noble. I'm looking into Ingram's because
Ingram, yeah,
that's where booksellers can buy.
right.
And maybe I'll make more than 50 cents a book, and maybe I'll actually have publish,
Yes,
people getting and
absolutely.
finding out about it because they're
Right.
great books.
Oh,
And
absolutely, absolutely, and I actually, with my Afterlife Chronicles book, I still have to, because I had my Queen Mary books with a different publisher, and then now I republish them under my own imprint, so I need to get those on Ingram, but for my Afterlife Chronicles book, I actually did put so I published through KDP, but then I also published through Ingram, so if you do that, make sure to buy your own ISBN. So, no, you can't if you use, like, the free ISBN, let's say with KDP, you can't then go take that same ISBN and then republish on Ingram, but if you buy them yourself through Bowker, you can publish wide like that, and so that's what I've done.
okay, at the end, I'm
We'll
gonna,
talk. Yeah, we'll
yeah,
talk for sure.
mhm,
Yeah.
because I did that on one, but then anyway,
Mm.
yeah, it's not a story for here. Um, but I'm hoping those will be out this week.
Oh,
Um, I'm not quite sure, but
well,
I'm
let me
hoping.
know. Let me know when you
Yeah.
do, and then I'll share them for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. But yeah, and always looking for new event spaces to give classes, to do galleries, to do workshops, things like that. Places that have their own history and their own story. And
Yes,
especially if I'm helping people open up to reading history, it's nice to have a historic spot or
absolutely.
a haunted spot if we're talking about the entities. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's great. I had David Oman on the show
I was
two
just
weeks ago.
watching part of that. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
I'm
so
not
great.
quite finished with it yet, but I loved his shirt. I mean,
Yes, yes,
I was like, "I want his shirt. That's so cool."
yeah. No, it's a great one, and
He's
he's so
fun.
much fun to talk to.
Yeah,
Nice
oh,
guy.
yeah.
Um, I've got to get down there and visit, and then see him, and then see my sister.
Oh, yeah,
But
great.
yeah, she lives on the other side of LA from Hollywood. But
Not far, yeah, you're close to the Queen Mary then too. I mean, you're like
last time I went down there, I spent a night on her on the way down.
there you go, yeah. Well, when
Hmm.
you come out this way, let me know. Maybe we can meet on
Oh,
board.
yeah, that'd be cool. Um, how did you, totally switching gears here, how did you get addicted to the Queen Mary, for lack of
Oh
a
my
better word,
gosh.
and adding a little bit of humor to it?
Yeah, this is a story I've told many times. I love sharing it. I've known about the ship for many years. My mom actually went on board way before I did. She did ballroom dancing there in the Veranda Grill, which is during the ship sailing days was an a la carte restaurant and what was called the Starlight Roof Club. So for the first class passengers. So in my opinion, when you when you go to the Queen Mary, and if you have a chance to go in the Veranda Grill, especially on a tour, you can see there's some amazing Art Deco pieces in there, as there are throughout the whole ship. But so I knew about the ship prior to even going on board, but I was actually attending the University of Arizona. So it was in my junior year, and a friend of mine and we both decided to come back out because we were both from Southern California, come back out to Southern California to go on a 3-day cruise for spring break. So there's a Carnival cruise port right adjacent to the Queen Mary. So I saw the Queen Mary for the first time from the back seat of a car. And I remember staring through the windows, just in awe of what I was looking at. And I made a mental note and I said, okay, I will be back there one day. And so when the ship departed, because it's right there, I remember watching the Queen Mary as we were pulling away from the wharf there. And I stared at it until I could no longer see it. And it was at that instant where I said, I have to come back here one day. So then that day came a few years later in 2005. And so I drove, Queens Highway, parked my car, went up the elevators, went on, I think it was A deck. Yes, it was A deck. Went up the gangway, landed on A deck, which is one of the hotel decks, and that's where the hotel lobby check-in is. And I kid you not, it's so hard to describe this. It really, even in writing, it is. But the second my feet touched, off the gangway and literally touched on board the Queen Mary, it was an instantaneous, like, soul connection to the ship. I fell in love with her immediately, if that makes sense, and everything felt so familiar to me as if I've been there before. So again,
Right on.
past life, maybe. I know I do have one with the Titanic. So Queen Mary, I've had some past life regressionists contact me, because they've seen my writing or posts, and they contacted me saying, "Oh my gosh, you have a past life on board and blah blah blah." And I've always kind of felt that too, perhaps. There's something there. But
Mhm.
that's how it all really started for me, and then the rest is history. And,
Yeah.
initially when I started researching, I'm still into the paranormal side of the ship because that is
Yeah.
part of her tapestry. You can't really
Yeah.
separate that from the history. But as the years went on, I started to really delve deeply into the ship's history and just her just she's multi-layered with historical events. And so talking to former crew and passengers and war brides, and just hearing their stories, so it's really evolved into that. So that's kind of how it basically all started for me.
Right. No, that makes sense. Um, well, that got me started on a couple other things.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking earlier about a my neurodiverse brain, and that's an example of it. Um, so
Oh
just
my god.
one, yeah, it's fun. Um,
Yeah, I think
for
I
me,
have that
not always
too.
for everybody else.
We all have those moments. I do too.
Yeah. Um, what kind of experiences have you had there? Both just the normal, what people would have with paranormal, but also you've got mediumship abilities that are pretty well honed in that
Yeah.
way as well.
Yeah, I'll try to answer that in the best way I can. The and I Let me first preface that I feel that, and there's all kinds of different theories as to why there's paranormal activity on board the ship, and a lot of these theories would apply to other locations as well. But in my opinion, I think the foundation of it has to do with the ship being sentient herself and being magnetic. And I'm not saying magnetic necessarily in the physical sense, but more of a spiritual sense where she is a constant transmitter and receiver of spiritual energy, almost like a time capsule where she holds in her past, is able to retain it, and then also s I feel like she's, like I said, one giant time capsule where almost past, present, and future coexist with each other. So
Okay.
with that said, I mean, I've had a lot of encounters from, full-bodied sightings of apparitions, former passengers, crew members, shadow sightings, shadow figure sightings. They're reported a lot in the former first and third class pool, but you can see them throughout the ship. A lot of disembodied voices. I've even been touched. I've had my purse tugged. I've had my shoulder tapped. I've talked to many people who have actually had dreams of while they're staying on board. They've had dreams of the ship's history, which is interesting. So I
Yes.
think that there's this almost beautiful interplay with, if you think of the Queen Mary being one gigantic spiritual entity, and then she has her human and animal energies, cats most likely. Some dog sightings have been reported too, but just so human and animal energy mixing in along with the ship's sentience, and there's this like beautiful interplay between the two. I think they charge each other in that way. So I've had, as the years have gone on, I've this happens quite frequently, and it usually happens within probably, I would say, the first 5 to 10 minutes of stepping on board, where I've heard my name called. I've heard man or male, female, young and old say things like, "Hi, Nicole." Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's regular tone, or I'll hear, sometimes I've heard, "Nicole's here." It's bizarre. So I do think the Queen Mary, there's a mixture of intelligent energy and residual. In my opinion, from based on my experiences, it's a little bit more intelligent than residual. So maybe some of them know who I am because I've gone on so frequently. But it's the paranormal activity on board the Queen Mary is very consistent. It may wax and wane here and there, but it's consistently experienced by people from all walks of life. So that's what makes it, very interesting. But yes, mediumship, I feel that all of us have the ability to be, mediums, just not everyone is maybe, practiced at it or maybe open to it. But I've
At
always
least
had.
psychic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, not necessarily full on mediumship, but at least psychic. Mhm.
Right, yeah, and so I've always had this ability. I think it comes from my mom's side of the family. My maternal grandmother was insanely gifted in that area. So I think it's passed down through that. And so just from back as a kid, I would have experiences or I would know certain things, but just being exposed to paranormal research and afterlife research for what, 20 years now, I just think that that's further developed it just naturally. So I don't advertise myself as a medium. It's just a personal preference. I don't know why, but I do. I when I investigate more from an intuitive standpoint than I do from a science based. And I know people cringe at using the word science with paranormal, but I mix the two. So I bring in my mediumship abilities and then work that with different types of methodology that we do in paranormal research.
I think that's brilliant and very important, actually.
Yeah.
And the science, the instruments, well, none of them were built to or designed to use
Right.
boats, but they can talk about abnormalities, things like that, in magnetic fields, different things.
Right.
I'm not a fan of spirit boxes or all those noisy things, although I've heard on a rare occasion some pretty good results that are very firmly linked to the questions or and aren't an accident. And you can tell the sound.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a little different, but I prefer just a recorder.
Oh,
And
you know
yeah,
what? That's yeah, me too. For me, less is more. This is just when I say this, it's my personal preference. With ITC and using like the ghost boxes and spirit boxes, we had about 10 years of tenureship at the Rancho Buena Vista Adobe, which is up in Vista, California. It's about 30 minutes north of San Diego. So, right sandwiched in between Oceanside to the west and San Marcos to the east. So, very, very old 1850 land rancho up there, which is the Rancho Buena Vista Adobe. Beautiful, beautiful location. We did paranormal tours there for about 10 years, once or twice a month. And then we did some private team investigations there. For some reason, the ITC method worked well there, and what we looked for when using that device, because it can be extremely subjective, right? I mean, it's you could be audio pareidolia all the way, but what we looked for were not only were the responses clear, you're not straining to hear them, but were they relevant to the history or relevant to what we were talking about? And so we found that a lot with the captures, and month after month, we would get the same vocalizations coming through, even in saying their names, like even introducing themselves as like Isadora, for example, or Cave Johnson Couts. So we would have that, and just for some reason, that method worked really well there.
Fantastic. Um,
But yeah, it can be subjective, totally,
yeah.
totally.
And I like good photography too.
Mhm.
But it has to be convincing,
Right.
and you have to look through. No, that's not a shadow from something
Yeah.
else. I was so excited once. I thought I had a great picture from at the time at the only 4-star or 5-star hotel in Portland.
Oh, wow.
Well, I thought we had two at that point, but anyway, it doesn't matter. High end, and one of the night auditors was a good friend who was part of paranormal, and when the floor was empty for renovations or just closed because they didn't have that many people in the books or whatever, he'd call and say, "Hey, do you want to go explore?" And the small group of us would do that. And um, there was in one of the rooms there, we got this. I got this great picture, and usually the entities, when I try to get a video or audio, say, "Why should we go to that much effort? You can see and hear us." And I go, "Yeah,
Mhm.
but I can't show people, or
Right, right.
and they don't care." But and then somebody we both know, um, um, he's an art teacher, and he looked at it for about half a second and said, "No, that's a reflection from this lamp that was on this table over wherever." And as soon as he
Oh,
said that, I was crestfallen and agreed he was exactly right. But and
but still
between
though, there it doesn't it may not have shown up in the picture, but that doesn't mean that maybe the presence wasn't there,
right,
right? So
um, absolutely. But I mention that because it's part of no, you really examine what could be
mm,
influencing this, and
yeah,
um, and I don't even bother checking. I take video from my notes,
absolutely,
not
yeah,
not
absolutely.
to
Right.
figure out if they're going to catch anything because
Yeah, it's interesting with photos. I've had a lot of photos sent to me from the Queen Mary from people, and most of them are usually reflection or something around that, but there have been actually quite a few that are, pretty, convincing, and so I show those when I, do presentations about the Queen Mary and stuff, but yeah, it's pictures, and too nowadays, with the digital cameras and everything, and even some of the, now with AI, that's gonna make it much more difficult because
right.
sometimes people just believe AI and think it's real when, I can tell when it's AI, I'm sure you can too, but
Only sometimes. Even the AI experts can't always tell easily.
if it's, like,
If it's
exceptionally
really,
good, right,
yeah,
right,
and
but I
depends
yeah,
on which AI that people are using.
right, if it's kind of like that I should have specified that, but if it's kind of just more simplified or more general. Usually, I
Yep.
can tell, but yeah, that's a good point. You can't always tell,
You
but
have to look closely.
oh,
You really do.
you do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Gosh, I was just gonna mention something and I totally forgot what that was. It was around oh, yes, the iPhone and Droid ghost app figures that people can use. There have been photos sent to us for us to look at, and we've been able to determine on a few of them that the photographer, was trying to dupe us and literally, superimposed one of the ghost app figures into their photo. And so it's an awkward email back. I don't want to be, we don't want to be like, rude or anything, but we'll just say, I've been bold and I've said, well, it looks a lot like this. And then I'll attach the picture of it. I'm as nice as I can be. But still, you just have to be careful with stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, you
It's
do. And
crazy.
I, when I'm taking pictures for something along that line, I use my Canon 70D, which is
Oh, okay. Is
a
that a
pretty, that camera is unlikely to have the lens flare and all the issues that cell phone cameras, even really good ones,
oh, yeah.
have.
Right. Mhm.
And I take other people if they're using a good DSLR, I'll take those photos as a little bit more likely to not be a camera function instead
Right.
of whatever's there. But I'm also not an expert at this, and I also know that film cameras
Oh, yeah, neither am I.
usually they're the best version of it because you don't have the electronics
Right. Yeah.
that can create things. So
Yeah, and even like
um,
the with the whole orb phenomena orbs, most of them can be logically explained away. I always tell people if you see an orb with your naked eye and it's, 3D or coming out of a wall or something like that, that's interesting. But, as you know, most camera, especially the ones on digital cameras, can be explained away. But that's why using, and this is so old school, but using like 35 millimeter film or even Polaroids, because if you can capture something on that and an orb per se, it might be more not as explainable as something that's captured on a digital.
mhm,
Speaking of orbs per se, um, but yeah, these cameras are so sensitive now.
mhm.
Even the cell phone, because I have a Samsung Galaxy. No, it's a what is it? A Samsung Galaxy 23 Ultra, and the camera
Okay,
on
mine's
that
a
thing.
25.
Okay, so yours is even updated. Yeah, now I need to upgrade mine soon. But gosh, the set. I mean, it's so sensitive. It's crazy.
Um, um, and sometimes I'll use it for night because my Canon can
Mhm.
be difficult when it's really dark
Oh yeah,
and trying to
right.
get something bigger. I was trying to get some pictures to see if I could capture the aurora borealis the other night.
Oh my,
We
that
had a
they
little bit of a
did you
cloud
see
break.
him? Did you see him
No,
pretty well up there? Because San Diego, someone captured a photo here from San Diego and you could see them, which is, like,
I
rare, super
yeah,
rare.
there were people around, especially the first night. People around here did, um, and I may have been out too early, but I was already out an hour later than I'd planned on, to go to bed. And light pollution around here,
Yeah,
I
city.
have a long
Mhm.
drive to get away from lights. But I went to a park, so there was a good open space.
Mhm.
Um, and but no, I didn't get anything. Friends of mine up on the Olympic Peninsula took some fabulous,
Yeah, I bet.
and I saw some fabulous ones people posted from around here, but um, nothing I could see. And I don't know what time they were out.
Yeah, it reminds me, my friend Tom Varney, he's, a Queen Mary, friend, and, he built 2 large, models of both the Queen Mary and her sister ship, the Queen Elizabeth, which are in the engine room lobby aboard the ship, And so, if you ever go on board, please go see those. He spent years doing these. They're fantastic. But his friend, he lives in Alaska, and so his friend takes a lot of photography of nature, and so she's actually captured some amazing photographs of the aurora borealis. So it's fantastic. But yeah, someone captured from East San Diego, so more inland, not as lit as because I'm in central San Diego. But yes, you could barely see it, but it was captured, which is unheard of down here. Unheard of.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Fortunately, we didn't have the jolt to the electric system that can come with these storms.
oh my gosh, I know. And people can
Yeah.
feel so weird with these geomagnetic storms. It's almost like Mercury retrograde. People
Yeah.
can feel anxious and just headachy and whatnot. So, yeah,
Mm.
it's weird.
Yeah, it is. Um, do you have anything lined up on the ship in the future soon that you're participating in?
Probably book signings. The last one, 2 I did were at the 90th launch anniversary, which was not this last September, but the one prior. So, coming up in May, it's the ship's 90th maiden voyage anniversary. So, I don't know yet what the ship will be doing in regards to its events. You can always visit its website. It's queenmary.com. Make sure to follow its Instagram because they're constantly posting amazing stuff on there. So I don't know what the ship is planning on doing, but hopefully I'll maybe if feasible we'll plan a couple book signings, 1 or 2 book signings for there. So my mom and I are spending the night, 3 nights in December. So we'll be on
Oh,
board there just to hang out and everything. She loves spending the night on board now. I wasn't sure
yeah.
she was going to like it, but the first time she spent the night, she got hooked. I said, "Yep, that's how it works. That ship gets into your blood. There's no there's no way of getting it out." So,
Oh,
but we're
you're
doing
right.
that. Pardon?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I had
she
a
loves it.
wonderful, spent a wonderful night on board. I had a cabin on the harbor side,
Okay, do you
so
remember
I
what
wasn't.
room or deck you were on?
No, this probably would have been 2017 or 18.
Okay, it
So
was either M, A, or B, but yeah, starboard side, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful views.
and it wasn't one of the high-end suites, but it had a sitting room area a little bit, and
Yeah.
bed was wonderful. The bathroom, um, it was a whole lot nicer than the Norwegian ship I was on going to Alaska a few years ago. Um,
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing really well. I
yes,
mean, thinking that she, was built and launched in 1934 and how well she's held up all these years is
the
incredible.
rich wood paneling
Oh,
and
yeah.
uh-huh,
Oh, yeah.
and
No, it's amazing.
it's like going back in time to a period that I want to have a house.
Right? Oh, I could live on board. Just give me a
Oh
room, I'll
yeah.
be fine. That's fine. Just give me a room. I'll be good.
Well, I
But yeah,
want a bit more. I'd like a suite.
oh gosh, yeah, the suites. I've stayed in many of them. They're all so fantastic. My favorite is probably the Queen Mary suite, which is on M deck. They're all on M deck, by the way. Now they are. I mean, the hotel now. I'm not speaking back when the ship was in service, but the hotel rooms as they are now, they're all on. The main suites are on M deck. So yeah, Queen Mary suite. If you want a good suite, they're all good, but that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Great.
And they're rate and now I haven't checked lately, but I remember the rates weren't that bad. I
No.
was expecting a lot
Mm-mm.
more.
Yeah, and just what you get with it. You're staying on this iconic historical ship. It's just for me. I mean, I don't mind spending money on board the Queen Mary because I feel like I'm giving back to the ship. So it's to me, no problem,
It's
no
just
problem at
it
all.
just depends on what my budget can
Well,
handle.
yeah,
You
of
know.
course, but yeah, management is doing such an amazing job. They're always thinking of new events, really catering to people of all ages, which I love. So putting on events even that kids will love. So, but just frequently check website queenmary.com, and then it's Instagram and Facebook as well. So,
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool. Yeah, I
Yep.
do too. Now I want to go back. But
Yes.
you see, I when I think of taking a cruise, it's never these modern things, unless maybe the QE2 if that's still running or something. The Canard cruise,
Mhm.
yeah, that what I would think of because it's going back a little bit. But I think of the Edwardian liners, first class, and um, the luxury, the comfort, the service, the food
Yeah.
quality, all the rest,
Oh, yeah,
and not in
absolutely.
a speed race either.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. And, it's interesting because on the Queen Mary's maiden voyage, Commodore Britain actually elected to not attempt to get the blue ribbon, which was an accolade given to a ship with the fastest nor or western or eastern crossing. So, he decided not to, and, it on the I think it was the 2nd day of that voyage, the Queen Mary actually passed right by where the Titanic sunk. And so the crew, they did a little remembrance ceremony and laid out wreaths in the water. So I always felt that that may have been a tap-in point for some of the Titanic spirits because they see this ship coming that is resembles quite heavily uh, what the Titanic looked like. I mean, of course, there's differences, but similar. And that may have been the tap in point because a lot of people, including myself, have encountered what I believe to be spirits from the Titanic. So it's interesting.
Interesting.
I just wanted to mention that when you said that. But
What
yeah,
year was that voyage?
that was, sunk on April 15th, 1912, right? Yes.
Right.
Was that right? Yes. I know this and now I'm like
I know
blanking
the
on.
year she
I mean,
sank.
I'm gonna sound like yeah, I mean, this is, like, common knowledge that I have, but then I'm saying, it just doesn't sound right. Yeah.
What
Well, yeah, I
was
was
this?
right. It started on April 10th, and then, gosh, I mean, people are gonna be like, "Okay, Nicole, you need to seriously get your brain examined." Common knowledge that I know quite a bit about the Titanic, not as much as the Queen Mary, but April 10th and then, April 15th, 1912, I think it sunk around, like, 2:20ish in the morning around that time. But she stayed afloat for over 2 hours, like 2.5 hours, which was to me, I mean, I'm no engineer or anything, but that's a well-built ship if it can do that.
Especially with the fire having softened the rivets and the panels and all the rest of it. Um, but the one where they laid the wreath at the spot, when was that?
That would have so the maiden voyage was May 27th, 1936 of the Queen Mary, so it would have been 2 days
Oh,
later. I believe it was 2 days into the voyage when that happened, so, you know,
oh. And so, but it was 1937 the ship was crossing. So I
nine
was just wondering because my
1936.
grandmother, my mom's mother, and her parents in 1912, 6 months after the Titanic sank, crossed. They went from Astoria to New York for a little bit, and then crossed over to Finland to visit relatives in
Oh,
the old
wow.
country.
Okay.
And they were gone 6 months, and it was just 6 months after. So I didn't know the dates well enough with the Queen Mary to be able to see if
Yeah, yeah, the Queen Mary, so she was launched on September 26, 1934. It was supposed to be in May of 1932 because of the depression that halted things. So she was launched, September 26, 1934, and that's when, Her Majesty Queen Mary christened her, RMS Queen Mary, and then maiden voyage was May 27th, 1936, and then she retired December 9th of 1967 after her 39-day last great cruise that she took. So the last port of call was Acapulco, and then she came up into Long Beach. And then that was December 9th, and it was just after noon when Captain John Treasure Jones signaled finished with engines from the bridge telegraph. But 2 days later, she was handed over to the city of Long Beach. So she was removed from the Lloyd's Register of Ships on the 11th and then officially handed over to Long Beach on that date. So pretty successful career. Not pretty,
Oh,
like amazingly successful.
right, right.
So
Um, and she would have been put into action as a transport or something during World War II, like all of the ships were.
yeah, she was. She served the entire war, and was also a hospital ship at one point during the war, carried POWs, war brides after as well. So her war career was pretty extensive. And if you read about some of the statistics from that period, it's just amazing what she accomplished, along with the other vessels too that participated. So
And their crews, we can't
oh,
forget that.
yeah. Oh, yeah, all of them. Yes,
Yeah.
crew, servicemen, you name it. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, well, do you have anything going on with paranormal investigation or research
At,
coming
like,
up?
location research right now? No, not really anything, right this minute. Uh, there was a private residence case, not here in San Diego, that, contacted me, and so me and, or Denise Agnew and I helped her with a little bit of that, just talking back and forth, but no actually investigation of her property at the point. So not anything really at this point, but, I'd like to get back on the Star of India and the Berkeley, which are part of the Maritime Museum of San Diego, to do another
Okay.
investigation. We've done that before, but we've been pretty quiet for the last year or so, couple years.
Yeah. Um, what kind of entities do you usually find with these locations? Um,
Just in general, I mean, every the encounters I have are very pleasant. I've never really been scared or terrified or anything like that.
okay,
Usually for me personally, I tend to encounter, depending on the location, some of the energies that are associated with that location's history.
right.
So, speaking of the Star in Berkeley, that would fall into that range. But I think the only time, honestly, in 20 years of me actually investigating was I was at a I'm gonna keep the location, private, but it was in Camarillo. A lot of people will know what I'm talking about just with that, and it was a old, I'm gonna say an old abandoned hospital. I'm trying to be discreet. So I was there one night, and it was me actually. I was setting up a static infrared camera on a tripod, and it was dark. I mean, it's just the moonlight was shining through the windows, so really not a lot of light. And all of a sudden, I saw this very tall shadow figure, almost darker than dark. I mean, you could definitely tell it was there even though it was really dark, just charge at me. So it caught me off guard. I wasn't really afraid of it per se. It was just it caught me off guard and I exited out of the building, which I've never done before, prior or after that. So, but I've never really encountered anything terrifying or anything like that. I think a lot of it, and this is just my opinion, is how you are. So, like what you put out, you get back. So, if you go in with an openness and a kindness and a respect, you're going to get that back.
I
So,
think you're right.
a lot of people, not a lot, I shouldn't say a lot, but some people, if they go in being bossy or provoking or demanding who's there to communicate, you're not necessarily going to get the right response. So,
Oh, and when I'm working with classes, um, students and such, I have a pretty strong ethic that
yeah.
I insist on,
I know you
and
do. I know you do.
uh,
I respect that greatly.
use of the entities. And if I'm doing mediumship for a team, I expect the same thing. I won't work with a team that's abusive
Oh,
to
no.
the
Mm-mm.
entities and
Mm-mm.
provokes. No, I'm not the kind of people I want to be around.
No, not at
Um,
all.
mm-mm. and it's too disrespectful. It hurts,
Yes,
you
it
know.
does. I mean, it's almost like if you apply it to the living world, would you go up to a stranger and then just start asking them questions and demanding them to talk back to you? No, you wouldn't, so it's really no different.
Well,
So,
and I try to remember it's their space, not ours.
right, right, and I'm sure
And
you have like, a statement of intent. I know, like, when we go in, we usually have some sort of opening statement, just letting them know why we're there, what we're doing, that we're gonna be respectful, this and that, and I do think that it helps.
I
So, yeah.
do that when I remember.
Well, a lot of times you can just put that out with your vibe
Oh,
too,
yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
And that's and because it's all telepathic communication.
Oh, it is, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
you can say it out loud, but and I talk out loud so other people know what the conversation is.
Sure, sure. That's so
Um,
true. It's so true being that it's telepathic,
yeah,
for sure.
and part of what I was thinking or meaning too is, there are people out residual and all those things. I don't like any of the terms because I think they're too strict, and
Yes.
nothing is that
Mhm.
um, boxed in. But some of it, I haven't ever meant to trap soul. I don't think they exist.
Yeah,
There are a
right.
lot of people. There are people who are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. And I'm open to being wrong, but I need to have that experience before I
I
live.
yeah, I actually agree with you. I
Mhm.
don't really buy that either. I don't.
And yeah,
So
and but there are times when you can tell that this is more of the soul in a spot. So they're visiting, they're doing whatever, or just like hanging out,
mhm.
um, or that it's more like a movie playing or a picture playing that isn't necessarily aware, but it's an energy imprint from people.
Oh,
And
absolutely,
it's
yes.
and then you can have those that are doing and saying and have activity which may or may not be aware of you. And that a lot of that can be an energy imprint as well, or a little bit of it sat, but also some of the soul coming to be back. Because um, we leave behind part of our intellect, part of our spirit, part of whatever, and everything we're doing and around. And that's part of why, too, so many places have entities that didn't die there or didn't live there. Plus,
Right.
they my house is a perfect example of you don't have to die in a place to visit it
Oh,
because
yeah.
my house can be Grand Central Station. My parents had it built and nobody died here. And the property, well, this whole subdivision was a field next to filbert orchards when I was a kid.
Right, I mean,
And
that's why you always tell people it's the land more than anything.
yeah,
You
but
gotta look
nobody
at
in the
those land.
land. Yeah, but we didn't have the deaths and the land either, as except for maybe perhaps Native Americans or people doing things. But in my knowledge, there's never been a dwelling
Hmm.
on this particular subdivision area. Um, Certainly not since we moved here in '63, but
Yeah, that's interesting, and
yeah,
because I think this applies to, I'll bring up the Queen Mary again, is that, a lot of the energies there are somehow connected to the history, but I do believe the ship and there's other locations like it are in many ways beacons for the
right,
spiritual world. Going
right,
back to that transmitting and receiving, and so just even if you're not really necessarily connected to the history per se,
right.
as you may be drawn to it. So I think that there's a spiritual flow that goes through the ship. Some may choose to stay, some may choose to come and go and visit, others may not, and they're just passing through, but I think that applies to a lot of locations.
Yeah, I think so. And I experience it here because you
Mhm.
get a medium in a place and a beacon goes up, and you get a couple mediums in around here in my house, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense
Yeah,
in that
that
way.
does totally make sense. That was a nice
And
comment.
yeah, um, and oh, I lost my train of thought. But
Oh, that's my fault. I'm sorry. That was
no,
because I opened my
no, it's
mail,
not your
see?
fault. It's not your fault. It's mine. But we get so many. I mean, you see people poking around the corner, and you'll see a shadow, and you hear voices and all this stuff. But I've also been waiting for a taxi at 5 in the morning to go to the airport and heard footsteps running down the street, and there's
Oh, yeah.
nobody out there. Um, and it was just land. But yes, also you can pick up from the land. I mean, people can be they can be there because of the land, they can be there because of the building or structure, they can be there for all kinds of
Oh,
reasons.
okay. I mean, I even find geology interesting too. Like, for example, the
Yes,
Stanley Hotel. With
yes,
it has this piezoelectric effect to it with the limestone and other sorts of mineral deposits and whatnot. That's interesting too. In
yes.
places that have reported activity, if you look at the geological landscape of it, you can often find that, okay, maybe ley lines are intersecting through it. There's geological influences. I mean, there's so many influences. So
Right.
fascinating.
It really is. And I've given two workshops at the Stanley.
Oh,
It's
fantastic.
an amazing place. Um, I'd like to do another one, but
Yes.
it's
Yes.
um,
That would be
and
fantastic.
on one of them we got. I mean, the the scary Mary and I'm Facebook friends with her and Rob. Oh, what was his name? But anyway, two of the tour guides that pretty well ran the place, and then there was another one too at times. But they got us into places that nobody's supposed to go, um, like the apartments and or
Yes,
the
yeah.
carriage house things
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard
And
about the apartment area. I'd
and
love to go.
we were in the tunnels, and um, it's truly awe-inspiring. It
Oh
really is.
gosh, it's gorgeous. I mean, just Estes Park and just where it is, and yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely wanna go. I can't believe I haven't been there yet. Oh my gosh, but one of these days.
Well,
Yes.
considering where you live, the first thing you should do is when you get there, if you can't find it before, is stop at Safeway and get altitude sickness pills.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've found a lot of people that were part of this had some issues, and I've never had trouble with it before.
What's the height of it exactly? Do you know the exact is it like 5,000 for not 5,000, god, that's way too high. So what would it be
But
like?
It
Is
would have
it?
been,
Let me
it
look.
would have been well over 5,000 feet.
Okay, is it really that high?
Denver advertises as a mile high city, and you just keep driving up
Oh, it is,
mountains to
okay,
get,
okay.
and no, I don't remember how many feet in a mile anymore. I used to know all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
didn't realize. Oh, yeah, yeah, I was way off on there. I was thinking Denver was a lot lower. Yeah, it's 7,500 feet above sea level. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I
And
do
I've
pretty
never had,
well around 4 or 5, but yeah, 7, I'm not so sure. But yeah, that's a good point. You don't
because
wanna
you
feel
get
sick.
tired. Yeah, you get tired and everything else too,
Mhm.
because, um, and I haven't ever had trouble before, but up at those heights, because I've been to Mountain National Park and all those places. But we drove, and you're adjusting a little bit more. And when you fly into Denver, you're already a mile high,
You're already
and
right.
and then
Yeah,
you hop in whatever is taking you, or
right.
you're driving, and go on up. And
Takes a little
so
while to
I
get used to
noticed
it.
a little bit of issue myself, and The pills really help. They help absorb oxygen, I guess is what they do.
Yeah, that
And
makes
the
sense because yeah, I mean, like, our little mining town in San Diego, known as Julian, which is one of my favorite spots, it's like 4,200, and I'm
Mhm.
fine that, but yeah, it doesn't bother me at that, but then, yeah, I didn't realize the Stanley was that high, but yeah, that's a good point. Definitely wanna
uh,
come prepared, but it's just
right.
I definitely wanna stay there. I can't believe I haven't been there yet. One of these
Well,
days.
we did have some activity. I Now there was one couple that talked about all kinds of stuff in their room, and after the fact, when few others of us were talking, we're not quite sure how much of it they staged and how much they didn't. I honestly don't know. I'm not accusing him, but there was a little bit of a doubt by some of them. Um, and I had a lot of activity in and around my room, lots of noise and footsteps and kids and all kinds of stuff. And um, I was thinking, well, there's a staircase that goes down. Maybe it goes to kitchens or something next to my room. But carts, big carts and stuff, they wouldn't roll those up the stairs. And I honestly don't know if it was normal or paranormal. I know it
Right.
didn't make
What
for a good morning's sleep.
what floor were you on?
Oh, it would have been okay. The ground floor is all the public rooms,
Right.
and the second and third floor, I think that's all. I don't think there's a fourth. The second and third floor are the guest rooms, and I was on the second floor.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I've heard that parts of the 2nd floor are active and people have heard, like, disembodied vocalizations of kids. So maybe that's what you heard, but, you bring up a good point because I think as investigators, when especially locations that are well known, like the Stanley, we have to be careful because you have to sift through what's authentically paranormal, meaning that it's occurring
Right,
on its own without the influence of the living versus going in and then what's there is perhaps a forced haunt or something that's caused by the living. So it really wasn't really paranormal at all on its own, but it was contrived or brought in from the living or influence. So you have to go in there and kind of sift through both of those to
right,
really figure out, and it can clog things up. It can pollute it.
right.
So, yeah.
And well, the hotel is interesting too because it was built as the guest house for the Stanleys
Right,
for
right.
their summer residence.
Mhm.
And then they had bachelors' quarters. Originally, the bachelors slept in tents, but then they built the building that um, they call the bachelors' quarters. But then they've also got the concert building, the
Mm,
concert hall,
yes,
which we
yes.
had some activity in.
I've heard that
And
that's active.
then there's a you go up this you go up a big staircase to get to the quote ground floor. It's actually raised quite a bit, and from the front. But there's on the side, it's open, and there's a door there that you go in easily and can get the elevator and with your luggage and stuff. But that's where the tour office is and a couple things, and restrooms are just down the hall there a little bit. And I was in the restroom, and they had mirrors with kind of pictures a little bit in them, not of the hotel or anything, but it's just something there. And I clearly saw Mr. Stanley looking
I
at
was
me.
just gonna I was just going to ask you if you think he's present. Literally going to ask you that.
I've seen him. And
Yeah,
I didn't know who this was for sure at the time, but then you walk up the staircase,
yeah.
the main staircase, and there he is on the wall, his picture, his portrait. And it was exactly who I saw in that mirror.
That's awesome when you can have an experience. The same I
Mhm.
have an experience and it actually is at the Davis Horton House, or previously known as the William Heath Davis House, which is in Gaslamp Quarter, San Diego. One night when I was just entering the building, and this was all in my mind's eye. I just hit my mic, sorry. Was all in my mind's eye, and I saw maybe a 10 to 12-year-old girl, long brown hair, brown eyes appear before me. And I was like, okay, I made a mental note of it. Then I enter the house and I happened to glance at the wall at the base of the staircase, and there is this like 8 by 10 vertical black and white photograph showing a young girl. And I kid you not, I didn't even know this photo existed before I saw it. The girl in the photo matched who I saw. So then I said to the docent, I said, "Who is this?" And she says, "Oh, that's Lillian Davis, Mr. Davis's daughter." And so that night we tried to make contact with her, and at one point we were in the parlor, and this made an episode of my ghost story, believe it or not, on TV.
Wow.
Yeah,
Send
and
me
it
the
was
link. Send
it
me the link because I'd love to see you on that.
yeah, yeah, sure, this was, like, back in 2013, and so we were in the parlor, and then one of the investigators says, "Okay, little girl, you can come in here and talk to us," and then this was disembodied, not an EVP, because we heard it at the time, couldn't make out what was said, but then when I reviewed my audio later on, you clearly hear her say, "I am trying to talk to you. My name is Lillian." But the TV episode actually cut part of the EVP or the disembodied voice, so you only hear, "My name is Lillian." But then we had a camera looking up the staircase, in the, I believe it's the children's room right there to the right, and the door. This was happened about maybe 10 minutes after the disembodied voice. The door kind of pops open and then pops open again, and we tested that door. Now, at the time that it was opened, we were all sitting downstairs, no one was upstairs, but we tested it. We had people walking around. There was no air conditioning vents or any air currents or anything like that because it was a very heavy door. So I don't know,
I'm
fascinating, but that reminded me of that because it's
yeah.
like similar.
No, and it's great. And I've seen full-bodied apparitions before, and some bits and mirrors occasionally, but
Yeah.
this was so clear. And I try to thank them when they let me see
Y
them like that.
Oh my gosh, I am the same way. I do too.
You know,
I am the same
it
exact way. I do. I think it's an honor that it
is, and
is
it
in a way.
takes them a lot of work to manifest that much.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's in crazy. I Do you think when you saw him in the mirror, do you think he was intelligently obviously wanting to communicate with you, or do you think it just was more like an imprint?
I don't know. The mirror wasn't an old one, so
Right,
it's not
yeah.
like he would have been imprinted in that. I I don't know. This was quite a while ago, and I don't remember.
That is
I
so
don't I I didn't know who he was at the time.
at the time, yeah.
Yeah. Annette's
See if I
got a
can
question for you, Nicole.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was looking up a picture. Oh, hi, Annette. Let's see. I do have a YouTube page. I don't publish any of my investigations on YouTube, but some of my podcast interviews are on there. So if you go to it's Nicole Strickland podcasts, you'll find that on there.
I said all line are all lowercase, all run
Yeah,
together.
yeah. It's no all one word. Nicole Strickland podcasts. Yeah. So
Is that
it's
it? Did I
mostly
get it
just
right?
yeah. It's a plural, so Nicole Strickland podcasts, just put an S on the end there. That
Oh,
should be
okay.
it, yeah.
Let's
Let
see.
me check it. I'll just check it right
Uh,
here.
Let me delete, but not edit.
Why is it not pulling it up? Shoot, I don't know why it's not pulling it up here. Okay, the link okay, just if you type in, for some reason it's not pulling it up, but if you type in, just on YouTube, just put in my name, Nicole D. Strickland, and it should come up that way. I mean, I can copy the link here. I'll
So
copy the link
is
and
this
then let me send it to you in Messenger.
Okay, that'll be good.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me see here.
Or you can post it directly, or you can copy it directly into that too if you want, and then I can highlight it or turn it
Okay.
up so people can see it.
Yeah, I just sent you the link. I don't know if can I. Oh yeah, I can do that here. Okay, I'm doing that. Sorry. There we go. Okay, that should work.
Mm,
Let me see if it.
I don't know what that is. Um,
Yeah, that's the link, and if you that with that link, it'll go straight to the page. I haven't posted on it recently though.
okay. Um,
And then there's also
I don't
too.
know why it's not showing up on my end. Oh,
Oh,
I bet. Did you put it on the private part?
that's yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, because
There
I
we go.
can't. I have to log. I'd have to log in to do the private chat. Um,
And I
if
think
you
I've got. I think I copied it
Yeah, there's
to the camera.
also too, if you go to, Afterlife Chronicles, all one word, afterlifechronicles.com, that pulls up, a lot of the past episodes of the Afterlife Chronicles. Like I said earlier, I'm re-debuting that show because it was on hiatus. But if it's just all one word, afterlifechronicles.com, it should pull up the site for that.
Like that.
Let's see. It's C no, it's CHRONICLES.
Oh, leave it to me to misspell it.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, well, why aren't you letting me
Yeah, there it is.
delete
I
that?
typed it wrong. I initially typed it wrong in myself. I was like, "Why isn't it loading? My fingers." Yeah,
Okay.
afterlifechronicles.com, yeah.
Would you go ahead and send that one to me too,
Sure,
and
yeah,
then I'll
let me just sit
and
here. Let's
way
see.
I'll
Sorry, I'm, like, trying to I'll message it to you that way.
okay.
Okay, there we go. Boom, there we go. Awesome. Oh, man.
Uh, how did we ever survive without all this?
Right.
In some
Oh,
ways,
you
a
know
whole lot
what?
better.
I honestly I would love to go I know this some people may not wanna even look at me anymore, but I sometimes I wish that we could go back to, like, the '90s or the early 2000s, it just seemed like things were just, I don't know, more innocent back then. I don't know.
Um, there were a lot from a civil rights perspective. They were pretty well. They we'd made a lot of progress by late '90s and early
Yeah,
2000.
yes, we have.
I would.
Yes.
So many people were talking go or talk about going back to the '50s or '60s, and I point out what those time periods were like for so many things, um, and especially people like me. Um, but um, I kind of sometimes wish it was steam trains, um, carriages, horse-drawn carriages, and scribes that you pay well and give enough coal to.
Can you imagine living back in those times? Oh my gosh.
Uh, and if you have enough money, it's not bad. Otherwise, that's mm, interesting.
It is, it really is. No, we have come a long way. It's just, all this technology, which is
It's
great. It's like my
overwhelming.
brain can't catch up to all of it yet. And I mean, even with AI, getting used to that.
So I stay away from it most of the time.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know,
want
it scares me. I know, me too.
I don't want my content as part of it directly. I don't want to directly feed it. And every time I've tried to use it to create something, it does a horrible job.
Yeah, you
Um,
can't yeah. I mean, there's
and
people that are no, I'm not knocking down on this, but people that are writing books with AI. I just
Yeah,
it's not my
and
it's just my not my cup of tea, but
exactly,
more power to
exactly.
you, I guess, but yeah.
But
Uh,
hopefully they label the book as AI generated, or they put in a few parameters and then AI generated or whatever, because otherwise it's not fair.
no, I know, I
Um,
agree with you, I agree.
yeah,
We're both authors, we get it, right?
yep, hmm
There's something
yeah,
special about putting your energy into a book, and imprinting your energy and your hard work and love for it, and readers can tell that, I'm sure you get the same thing. Readers have, told me like, "Oh, I can tell with reading your books how much you love the subject." You get that too, and that's a compliment toward an author. That's my
absolutely,
intent. I want you to feel my passion for this when reading it.
exactly,
So
exactly.
so,
Well, Nicole, it's almost quarter after 3. Do you have anything you want to announce or anything as we look at
um
closing?
no, I'm trying to think. No, everything is pretty, I am getting a new website rebuilt. So, the current one that's on there now will be replaced. Dreamco Design is doing a fantastic job with that. So, we're at the finishing stages. We're just now trying to get the domain transferred over. It's a great new design, so I'm happy about that. So, that'll be coming soon. The site is Nicole D as in dog Strickland.com, but right now the current site's, yeah, there's issues with it. So, but once I get the new one up, then I'll announce it. So let's see, anything else besides that? No, just plugging away, writing and more presentations, debuting the new podcasts, you name it.
Great. That sounds wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough. It's always a great pleasure, and time flies.
I know, it's always fun talking with you. We're very like-minded, which I love. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you all for watching. Feel
Yes.
free to share the video out far and wide.
You bet. I'll do that right now when my phone's like 5%. So I'll charge it and I'll share it. But yes, so nice seeing everyone in chat too as well. Hope everyone has a great weekend.
Night, everybody.